I'm really excited to welcome everybody to today's event. While we're getting everyone moved in from the waiting room, please feel free to get yourselves settled and we will jump on into today's event. All right, so I think we got everybody. Hey, y'all, I want to say welcome. My name is Meg Alexander. I am part of Power to Fly's virtual hosting team. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And if you'd like a visual descriptor, I am a 39-year-old white woman. I have black glasses, a black sweatshirt, yellow earrings, and pink hair up in a messy bun. As we go through this upcoming event, I'm really excited to get started. Today, we're going to be talking about the new rules for being hired in 2026, something that I think a lot of us are maybe champing at the bit to get started on today's event. So we'll dive right in. Before we go any further, I just want to real quick raise our code of conduct here. This looks like a big scary wall of legalese, but what it boils down to is don't be a jerk, okay? As long as you operate from a place of kindness and respect, it's pretty hard to go wrong from there. But if you have any questions, you want details about this, you can always DM me. You can find my name, Meg Alexander, in the drop down in the group chat. So you can always DM me if you have any questions. Anything further, you are always welcome to reach out to our help desk inbox. That email is hi@powertofly.com. All right, now as we get started today, I'm going to give y'all kind of the lay of the land. This will all be especially helpful if today is your first event with Power to Fly. And if that's the case, then hi, welcome. We're so happy to meet you. Now, the love is no less real for my frequent flyers. Thank you all so, so much. I love seeing your familiar names and faces in the chat. It is honestly one of the highlights of my day. So thank you all so, so much for joining us, whether today is your first event or your 50th. Now, the big thing to know about Power to Fly events is participation. It is absolutely encouraged and a way that we recommend that you engage with today's event to get the most out of this time, to make sure that the time that you spend with Power to Fly and Skillcrush is well worth it. So I really encourage y'all to keep your eyes in that group chat. My buddy Rob is going to be in the chat sending links out and stuff as well. But if you've got questions, if you want to network with your fellow attendees, all that good stuff, you are absolutely welcome to do so in the chat. Now, you won't be able to come off mute, but again, you're welcome to participate in the chat, and you're always welcome, if you'd like, to turn your turn your cameras on and share your smiling, maskless faces with us safely. Now, again, no need to be Instagram perfect. I'm on, let's see, day 5 of dry shampoo, which then just turned into the messy bun, like day 1 of the messy bun dry shampoo combo. So wherever you are in that cycle, whether you are coming to us from your living room couch or a corner office, it makes no difference to us. Okay, ball gown or bathrobe, we learn just the same. So whatever you're bringing, just meet up. We want to meet you where you are so that we can all learn together. Now, we are recording today's event. So what that means for all of you is you don't have to take notes. Now, we are also live streaming to YouTube. Hi, YouTube. And what that means is we'll have the recording, we'll do all of the good stuff, right? So you don't have to take notes. You don't have to worry if you miss a reference that was listed, a resource, a link, anything. You don't have to worry about it, okay? You can always go back and rewatch this recording once we post it. Now, everybody that registered, even if you weren't able to join us for today, hi from the past, even if you didn't join us today, everybody that registered is going to get an email from Power to Fly in 4 to 5 business days. It's going to contain a link to where you can access this video when it's posted on powertofly.com. Now, if Tauri says something unbelievably like mind-blowing, paradigm shifting, and you can't wait to send it, wait 4 to 5 days to send this email or send this recording out or share it with somebody, you don't have to wait that long. You can head over to our YouTube channel. It'll be posted usually by end of business day today. There is a quick selection of some of our best hits or greatest hits. Chats are saved on that YouTube channel, but truly, y'all, the real mother load, all of the free resources that we have are housed on our website. So I very much recommend that you check out our archives and our resources there. All right, now, like I said earlier, if you have a question or that you would like to raise in the upcoming session and you want to be kept anonymous, you can DM your question to me. I will ask your question and keep you anonymous. But please feel free to chime in, y'all. Oh, I also want to highlight, and Tauri, I'll have you, chime in on this as well. I'm always really eager to see how far the global audience spreads. So if you would, head over to the group chat there and let us know where you're joining us from. I'm coming to you from Toledo, Ohio. This is land that belonged to the Fox, Kickapoo, and Potawatomi tribes in my area. So if you would like to, please feel free to let us know where you're joining us from and if you know whose land you're on. All right, let's see who we've got. We've got Emily from Minneapolis. Emily, my heart goes out to you. Thank you for fighting the good fight, please. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's see, we've got Giselle is joining us from North Carolina. TJ is in Salt Lake City. Julie from New York City. Susan's in Evansville. Oh, I went to school in Indiana. NorCal for Erica near Mount Shasta. We've got Lynn from Pennsylvania, Jen from Connecticut, Maria from Ecuador. I love this, y'all. Thank you. Oh, Lynn's up in Ann Arbor, not far from me. Julia in, I believe it's Worcester, Massachusetts. So thank you all for joining us today. I love seeing it. All right, now on to before we introduce you to our speaker today, I do just want to give you a real quick explainer about Power to Fly in case you've never heard of us before. We're awesome. I'm obviously biased. But Power to Fly is a completely women-led organization. Now we are backed by Morgan Stanley with over 200 million professionals in our network. Now our mission is to help organizations to attract top talent and to retain engaged employees like all of you with solutions that simplify recruitment, enhance employee satisfaction, and drive long-term business success. We want to make sure that the companies that we work with are going to be interested in, the things that interest you and that you want to see in your workplaces. So I absolutely love these partnerships that we do. We've also been at the forefront of the future of work, and we remain huge advocates for remote work, posting thousands of remote roles as well as in-person opportunities on our website. So if you have any further questions that you want to know there, please feel free to send them in the group chat, or you can write to our help desk inbox, hi@powerfly.com. All right, now on to the main event. I am incredibly excited to get to introduce all of you to Tauri St. Clair. So Tauri is the instructor and enrollment counselor for Skillcrush by Power to Fly. Tauri's break into tech story began at Skillcrush, and now she helps others to write their own stories. After 10 years as a front desk admin, Tauri made the leap into tech and now guides students through the Break into Tech program with empathy, structure, and insight. As a proud queer Latina, Tauri's mission is to open doors for underrepresented communities in tech. When she's off the clock, she's cooking, hiking, or out on the dance floor. Tauri, what I lack in rhythm, I make up for in enthusiasm. But what are some of your favorite dances?
Oh, I don't have any like structured dances. I just free flow. I just
Love.
let it go.
All right. So, what else would you like our audience
Um,
members to know about you today?
I um I would like y'all to know that like my main overarching thing, and I think that's what makes me such a good match for working with Skill Crush is you are not alone, and that, I can relate to you in probably ways that you don't even know yet. But I'm gonna kind of, a lot of that's gonna come out throughout the webinar, so I won't, no spoilers just yet.
All right, excellent. Oh, and before we dive into you're going to be sharing your presentation, but before we dive in there, where are you located? I don't think I've ever asked this.
I'm in San Diego, and it's a little bit absurd how beautiful it is right now. It shouldn't be
Oh,
this
I bet.
nice.
It's
It's
negative
like,
10 here right now. You're not allowed to say these things to me, Tori.
yeah, I mean, the
All
one
right.
is just to kind of soften the blow. The mosquitoes are lingering for way too long, so I wouldn't mind it
All
being a
right.
little
I feel a
cooler.
little bit better.
Yeah,
Fine.
there you
Fine. Okay.
go.
Grudgingly, I'll feel better. Okay. You're going to be sharing your screen for the presentation. I'm going to sit back seat, but I will be here the whole time. If you need me, just give a shout.
All right, sounds great. So, just to like preface a little bit more, I'm Tori, she, her, and if you want a visual description, I have curly hair, bangs, I have some teal in my hair and an olive sweater. I am on the land of the Kumeyaay, so yeah, I guess there were some additional things I would love y'all to know about me. And I'm from Skillcrush, which is the online coding and design school with a heart. We specialize in helping career changers start new jobs in tech, but we also help current professionals in tech upskill and look for and land their next opportunity. So a lot of what I'll be talking about today is that part where we help people connect their skills to an actual job and a career, which is a very amorphous kind of thing to really grasp if you aren't a professional who's been doing this for a long time. At least in Skillcrush's case, we are, as far as we know, the oldest currently running online boot camp we've been going since for 13 years now. We've seen lots of ups and downs in tech in the economy, including the stock market crash in 2009, which was when our founder pivoted into tech. So this is a relevant moment to a lot of the things that we've experienced as well. So I'm going to share my screen and get started with today. Um, so I just, like I said, want to share that if you are feeling like getting a job in the modern job market is futile, you are not alone in feeling this way. The job market is candidate heavy right now, and a lot of that has to do with some economic markers that are not looking super great, that are resulting in budget tightening and more people being on the market. Automatic systems are becoming more commonplace and are making people feel really unheard and unseen. And scams are more frequent. This is speaking from our personal experience of seeing this from our clients we're working to get hired. That scams have been on the increase and rise. Part of this due to AI technology, which makes it easier to make this happen, which AI is going to come up a lot of times throughout this webinar. So I want to preface that a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is maybe going to sound like too simple and easy for you. And we have and that there's an actual name for this that is a known cognitive bias amongst humans. It's called the complexity bias, where when we feel like we have a big complex problem, we feel like the solution must be equally as complicated. But a lot of the stuff I'll be talking with you about today is actually very forthright, very straightforward, harder oftentimes to easier said than done, but is not going to sound as complicated. You may have even heard a lot of it before, but this is from our experience of continuing to get students hired. And students and are just people who are already professionals looking for their next opportunity with us in this current market. These are the things we've collected from them, from our experience with them. So I'm going to jump right into it. The best thing you can do is focus on what you can control. Acknowledge what you can't control and take responsibility for the things that you can. Remember that success is achieved by a series of small steps, and which it's easy to feel overwhelmed when you're looking at something big and giant. Know that when you believe in yourself, magic happens. I'll actually be talking about this a little bit more specifically a little bit later. It sounds very woo-woo, but it actually comes out in a lot of very kind of concrete ways that we know help make our students successful. Our our career coach, Wendy Sakuzo, who's a career strategist, said, let go of being perfect. Being human and job searching is messy, and consistency and connection go so much further than perfection. Perfectionism pushes us to strive for excellence, but it can also drain our energy, paralyze progress, and steal our joy. That's a direct quote from Wendy. What I would add to this, as somebody who struggles with perfectionism, I could see in the past the people around me who just went for it anyway, and maybe didn't have as cool projects as I did, didn't have as much experience as I did, but they were just putting themselves out there and they were getting hired faster and easier than I was. So I just want to say sometimes getting out there is going to go put you way further than waiting until you feel perfect. Surrender to the process is something that you can control. You might not be able to access full trust, but surrender to this being your best shot. and go for it. It's okay to doubt. Just be firm that this is what you're doing and know you can't predict what will happen. That's a big thing that I, as somebody who also has anxiety, will always be like, well, if I tried this, then it's not going to work. So then I won't even try it. And really, why am I treating myself like some oracle? Like it's good to kind of actually have some humility there. Realize you can't predict what will happen. You can't predict what opportunities are going to come from. And that's one of the reasons why really putting yourself out there to potentially be hit by the opportunities that you didn't even know existed is such a center, like a centrifugal part of this process. I don't think that's the right word, but I think you know what I mean. This leaves
Got you.
room for unexpected good things to come. And know that imposter syndrome is normal. If you are feeling imposter syndrome, that means you're in a situation where you're learning and growing. So try to turn some of those feelings around to feeling proud of yourself that you are even in a situation where you can feel imposter syndrome. And then this is from another speaker with Power to Fly, Lauren K. Lee, who wrote Unforgettable Presence. And she was in the presentation, The Power of Quiet Influence. And so know that nerves will likely never go away, but that's okay. They they're there to, help you feel more alert. And one of the things I'm just going to throw in right now is that there's actually kind of a hard technique of with science backing it, that counting your breath can actually help you kind of trigger into your nervous system that you are safe and you're fine and just take some of the edge off. Doesn't mean you're going to feel completely zen after the process, but it does mean that maybe you'll be able to move forward. You won't be in a complete panic state. A lot of this is from my other webinar that I host every 2 months, which is about networking for anxious people. So if you're kind of seeing a common theme here, that's why. But I just think that a lot of this is relevant for all of us. And so like you can count your breath in the 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, whatever it is. Honestly, that's what the science says. There's no magic number. It's just counting your breath. So now we'll get into the kind of more hard advice. That was kind of a more mindset thing. So a lot of this is about storytelling, and which is a process of for both discovering who you are and what you have to bring. And there's a lot of fake kind of things like parodied online, especially where somebody's like, everybody just tells me this, and what am I supposed to be like? Hello, I just love organizing papers. That's why you should hire me. And like, that doesn't resonate with anybody. It's not authentic. It feels bad. And it's definitely going to cause burnout that you are just constantly being so inauthentic. So focus on what you have to offer the community, no matter how small this is, even if it is organizing papers, there's different layers beneath that about what those papers allow to happen. Hopefully, you feel some connection to your company. A values match is a huge part of this process and what will help you be successful and then find a long-term match for yourself. And so I would kind of discover the layers beneath the kind of things that feel fake and superficial to you. And this will give you purpose that will translate to hiring managers. And so storytelling is a lot of kind of an answering those bigger questions about yourself that are relevant for your professional life. Like, what challenges have you faced that shape the priorities you have today? What perspectives do you bring that add something new to the table? How do your values show up in the ways that you approach your work interactions and your work flows? What sort of work energizes you, and how does this connect to who you are as a person? And what story does all of your past experience, all of it, tell about you? And this is obviously these questions are not just ones that you're going to answer within like a single moment, and they benefit from you thinking about them beforehand and kind of going through this process of discovery with yourself. And then there's the showcasing part, which is where a lot of people get really hung up. One of the things is the automated ATS systems, and now AI getting involved in this that bump you immediately from even being seen by a real human, will bump your resume and your application in general if you aren't meeting certain keywords. And this can be really disheartening and can feel like, how can I be myself anyway? So I just kind of wanted to throw in just a little tidbit about this, about how keywords when you're looking into this are a way to find the most direct language to tell the story, your story in. And that was a weird sentence, but I think again, you know what I mean. They're a way for you to acknowledge that this is what will cut to the person you're communicating with and get across to them what you're trying to say. So while it can feel like you're kind of forcing this unnatural, like maybe you wouldn't normally use those words, your point is to connect with another human being. So hopefully that kind of helps reframe it so it feels like a more organic process instead of a I'm fighting with robots kind of process. And then I also kind of want to talk about coaching as a process. If you are a proactive person who's really into reading articles and feel like you've got it kind of like there's not much more that can be told to me, I have read everything possible, I have gone to so many seminars. It can be easy to really underappreciate and underestimate how valuable the process of coaching is. First of all, your story starts with you. It starts with you, but to become an effective bridge to others, you need outside perspectives. And career coaches are a dedicated editing and rehearsal space with live human feedback. And this is something we've observed in our students who have the skills, but it takes them on average about 2 months, especially if they're career changers. Most of our data is about career changers to really start to get responses from hiring managers. Their skills may not have changed much in terms of their technical offerings. What's really changed is their ability to get really good at showcasing themselves and digging into and discovering what it is that they have to contribute so that they can communicate in an authentic way about themselves. And that's a lot faster than people that have joined us who were trying on their own for a long time generally experience. Once they get our help, it tends to be about 2, 3 months before they're getting multiple job offers. And that's because it's a process more than like a single kind of homework item I can send you home with. It's kind of something that you do multiple times and hone over time. And it helps immeasurably to have a human involved in that process. And so coaches can help you refine your narrative so that it activates that light bulb in hiring managers' minds that you are who they are looking for. And then storytelling goes beyond landing the job. But mostly, I really kind of wanted to focus here on how everything is storytelling, even tech tests, which sound like the most kind of like divorced from humans telling stories ever. But anybody who's currently in this space and our students, kind of the ones who are career changers, need this as an education. Um, know that a lot of tech tests aren't generally about getting the best answer. In fact, the right answer doesn't generally exist. There's usually multiple, and there's usually, even with coding, especially with coding, there is usually multiple answers, and they all serve different purposes and can have different effects. And sometimes they're ones that no one has ever thought of. And now, even more so, companies are putting protocols in place to have cameras run while testing because AI has changed the game and they don't want people just typing everything into AI and just spitting out and regurgitating what the AI says. So, soft skills are more important than ever, which has to do with communication. So, as I was saying, that was kind of not, that was about landing the job. But beyond landing the job, you'll keep storytelling even once you've landed the job. This will make you truly valued in your job and open doors you never knew existed. This is not about charisma. It's about being a great team player. So good communicators are considerate of everyone else's time. They're good at cutting to the meat of what's important. They're polite so that people feel respected no matter what it is that you're trying to cut across to communicate. And they're open about where they're at so that everyone can get on the same page. So if this sounds more like you and you can resonate with this, instead of just having the best and right words for everything, even though you feel like you're blanking all the time. Throughout the 2 slides that I've done with you, I've kind of struggled with words, but y'all got my meaning, and I don't think that you judged me for it. I don't think you decided like, oh, like, she's not an academic, like, or whatever. And so I think that's a lot more important than people realize, that it's not about charisma. It's not about being the best person with words. It's about these things that communicate to everybody that you respect them, that you are considerate of their time, and you are being discerning about what's important in this situation so that everybody can work well together. And so a lot of what we teach at Skillcrush for our students and the people who join us looking for their next opportunity is marketing principles. And a lot of people shy away from this. They're not coming to us looking for marketing and sales jobs for a reason. And they just feel like kind of gross about that process. But it's not tricking people. It's not desperately keeping people from leaving if they haven't bought yet. And that's the bad impression that a lot of people experience. It's about knowing what you have to offer and how to showcase it. And knowing that you can get drowned out in the voices of people who are talking about themselves all the time, whether or not their work is good. Know that companies are looking for what you have to offer and put yourself out there to find that match. They won't know that you're that good match unless they hear about you. So it's a process. The nice thing about this is that sales has a playbook and a structure that you can follow, that if you do the things, then you make the sales. And so that's what we guide our students in, and approaching this in a structured way that doesn't feel so much like they just have to just go out and like just nail it and be some car salesman. Not to disparage car salesmen, but I think that's what a lot of it comes to mind for a lot of people. It's considerate to acknowledge that employers are on a time crunch and don't have time to analyze and do deep research on every individual that would like the job. So you should take the time to make how worthwhile it is to hire you clear and direct. And again, this is oftentimes a refining, editing, and clarifying process that is best done over time. And then don't stop at cold applying. 70% of jobs are estimated by JobBite, which is an ATS system, that they are not on job boards. Anywhere from half to upwards of 80% of jobs are filled through networking. So, well, cold applying is something that we have our students do on a smaller proportion than maybe some other programs. It's not the most common way. It's definitely the most common way our students get hired is by just making connections. So when you are job searching, you are looking for the next way you can contribute to the community. So it makes sense that the best way to do this is at community events. Like this one, the Chat and Learns are really great, but especially for Power to Fly, they're job summits and opportunities where you can really be talking to not only employers, but also your peers. We at Skillcrush have seen people get hired for a job, then that company has another opening and they made a friend at Skillcrush, and then they bring that person in and say, hey, are you still looking? I would love to refer you. And that person gets work too. So making connections with everybody that you potentially can. Again, you can't predict where opportunities are going to come from. I'm a freelance web developer. My first gig was handed to me directly by a friend of mine at Skillcrush. I didn't have to apply for it or anything. She just didn't have the time for it. Asked the person, I don't have the time for this, but I know somebody who would really kill it, and pass it over to me. So, or nail it. And it was, you just don't know where opportunities are going to come from. I did not expect that by the way that we were just kind of supporting each other through looking for jobs, and get into the pool of people that companies are drawing from when they need to hire by going out to meet them. Oftentimes, by the time a job is on a job board, it's too late. Some of you may have experienced by looking on LinkedIn, you'll see thousands of applicants sometimes, especially for remote jobs. And the employers don't want to do that either. They don't want to have to sift through those thousands of applicants. They want to have a pool of people that they already feel really that they met, that they felt comfortable with, that they knew had a skill set and that they filed away. So you want to become part of that pool. So don't only go to companies that have an open job role. Approach companies that just have a values match for you, that are doing cool work that you would love to be a part of, and see if you can do informational interviews. Just reach out and on LinkedIn and tell somebody, I think what you're doing is really cool, and I would love to hear about it more. If you have a 15-minute time to do a little coffee chat, send them a Calendly link so that it's really easy for them to jump into that. You don't have to do any back and forth with scheduling, and it'll get lost in the milieu of them being a busy person. Again, it's all about that considerateness and making people feel that way. And those are the type of people that they want to work with. Soft skills are becoming more and more important as AI is kind of taking over the tedium of doing kind of more day-to-day tasks. And a lot, even more so, it's about how you communicate and who people want to work with. And then think of a lot of this community building or a lot of this networking as giving and reaching out for support. Sadie, one of our successful career changers who is working for a government agency as a full stack developer, she ran a webinar that's I learned a lot from her about networking for introverts, and the way that she reframed her being going out and networking was that it was about supporting others, looking for where she can support others, and not just a transactional like what how they can support them, but also a lot of people are happy to help if you've already formed a relationship with them. And support can go so far as to just kind of like, appreciate their wins and, ask them questions about the cool things that they're doing so that they feel like they're cool. And those types of things go really far. And again, just like to emphasize, you never know where opportunities will come from. Um, Meg, am I trying to, I'm so sorry for, I just want to do a time check.
Yeah,
Am I trying to reach
we're
to the 45 minutes? Is that a half hour for me, or am I at the
yeah,
30?
40 minutes would be about the half hour mark for you. But like I said, if you've got more, that's fine. I'm grabbing the questions that people are asking, and most of them are stuff that we're like kind of on the same trail. So you're doing fine as far as timing goes. You're on slide 11 of 23. Yeah, you should be okay.
Okay. I'm going to talk a little faster. I've been told I have really great diction, so hopefully you'll still understand me. Um, So know that employers are looking for AI. That is a key big difference in modern hiring versus hiring in the past. And know that there are AI tools out there for everyone. Marketing is a huge one, including working with it to market yourself. Just with a big caveat that it's a tool and you should be always injecting your own voice. And honestly, it's it's only ever as useful as the person who's using it, and this that applies to when you are trying to get hired as well. It's going to give you so much better results if the initial input that you put into it has been the result of you doing this discovery process and going through so one of the things that Power to Fly offers is a skills audit that walks you through the entirety of all of your experiences, not just your work experience, but your education, your hobbies, your interpersonal relationships, to really help you drill down into what your skills are. They have an amazing tool for this. And when you go through that process, and that's what you're kind of working with AI with, its results are going to be so much more poignant and get you much better results than if you're just kind of going out like, give me good resume, like figure out what this job applicant, take the job application and make a resume for me that's going to land me the job. It doesn't have enough to go on that's going to actually match you in a way that's going to take you through all of the, the process of being interviewed, landing, and keeping the job. Know that AI tools are really great for intercompany communication. So communication within your company and streamlining and automating workflows. At Skillcrush, we are working on releasing a whole course on vibe coding to allow people who are non-technical to make small programs for themselves or just to work internally within the company. This is not for production ready. Thousands of people are going to be working with this program kind of code that software engineers would be working on, probably while using AI tools. But that's a whole other thing where that's where software engineers are needed. But this is where the access to software has gotten more democratized and allows you to add value in a way that that employers are really impressed by. And then if you are a developer, you can step up your dev game by programming generative AI into the apps that you build. At Skillcrush, we currently have a whole course on this. It's called Generative AI Web Apps. And this is really huge, desired, used in companies like Bing and Shutterstock. Major companies have just implemented generative AI into their apps. Most of the time, they're accessing just like the big three of AI large language models and then using them to their advantage. They're just implementing them into what they build. The big three being Gemini, OpenAI, and um, oh no, I'm forgetting the other one.
Claude,
Uh,
ChatGPT.
yeah, that's OpenAI.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry.
Claude. Yeah, that's Microsoft. All right, so keeping your fire stoked, know that motivation cannot be based solely on serendipitous events. I know it can feel like you may have had an initial thing that got you excited about getting into tech, finding your next opportunity, whatever it is. But if you rely on that to just keep happening, you're going to burn out because it doesn't, you're relying on it just to hit you from nowhere. So you kind of have to have this be part of your process, and know that only people who keep going can reach that finish line and focus on what you want to create, and have that be something that'll help keep moving you forward in addition to what you want to obtain from your job. Lean on your community. You will feel disheartened at times. Camaraderie can stop you from holding back. Stop that from holding you back. And you just don't know what you don't know. So keep in connection with your community so they can highlight things that you may not have even realized. One of them is you can ask your friends to help identify your strengths, which is not only a confidence booster. So I highly recommend doing this, but it's also about, it's called there's, especially if you do this to your past coworkers, it's called a reverse exit interview, where it allows you to kind of really hone in on what your strengths are that you may not have even realized from people who have worked with you, but your friends probably know a lot about this too. Follow celebrities of your professions. I really highlighted designers and developers because this is what we work with. I obviously can't go over all of these now, but when you access the replay, these are some really amazing people that I really strongly suggest that you follow to help you keep your fire stoked. It's also a great opportunity to chime in if they are on LinkedIn to kind of participate in their posts and get that practice that's not as high stakes as reaching out directly to a hiring manager, to kind of just participate in the comments and then kind of like just kind of make some connections with them. And I think that if you have the chutzpah to reach out to them as well. A lot of them are very friendly people, like if that you may be shocked about. Join tech communities. Power to Fly is a big one. It's all one word. Sorry about that. My bad. And then I highlighted some other that are general to tech, especially for women, and then design and development communities as well. And then these are 8 habits of effective job changers that this is my distillation of everything that we've talked about today. And these are kind of like the compilation of everything that we've realized has made the people that we work with successful. And this is based on the 7 habits of highly effective people, for those who know that from way back when. So be proactive, acknowledge what we can't control, take responsibility for the things that we can, be consistent. Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. No, learning never stops. This is something to like that. If you can really showcase this as a tech worker, it'll make you more desirable. So share what you were learning. This helps others. It gives you a point of reference to network, especially if you're somebody who really struggles with small talk. You'll actually have substantial things to talk about, and show hiring managers you've got what it takes to keep up in tech. Be self-aware and take care of yourself. I'm not sure why aware is randomly capitalized there, but it's important. Sadie J, the one who did this networking for introverts, said it's okay to be intimidated, just don't let that stop you. And I would add that having a safe place to vent makes a big difference here. And then tell everyone what you're up to. Friends, family, you don't have to belabor it. You don't have to beat them over the head. Just mention, like, I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for a job in this and that. And if anybody in the room who has heard you is interested, then they'll ask and want you to elaborate more. But again, just never know where opportunities are going to come from. Value your past experience. One of our past students, an alum who's now working in tech, Jenny Williams, said that what set her apart were her leadership abilities and communication skills. She was a teacher. It makes a lot of sense that she would have leadership qualities that she's been experienced to back that up. But she realized how valuable that was, and this helped her land her job as a web developer at Walmart Global. And value community. This is again from my personal experience of being somebody who didn't really at first. I like to say that I'm recovering from lone wolf syndrome. I just kind of just thought I needed to do everything myself, thought it was better if I did that myself. And Skillcrush really changed that around for me and really made me realize that I'm bigger than the sum of my parts. So from the community that I'm, in, it just makes me extends my reach, makes me stronger, makes me smarter. And so don't forget about your community. Band together to share resources, share difficulties, and attend events together, which takes a lot of the edge off. And then trust in magic, which again is my woo-woo last tidbit here, but really it's about that and having just enough hope to keep you being able to push forward and know that there's going to be a time, especially if you are applying what I've talked to you about today, that you're going to get that job and you're going to look back at this time that was a struggle for you and go, oh my God, I'm so glad that I am in a much better place today than I was then. So that feels like magic once you're there. Right now, so much, but that's kind of where the hope is. And I know it sounds silly, but part of this is kind of helping is to help you get out of your head and feel a little bit like just not drag yourself down so seriously. So we're running a deal right now for 15% off of the Get Hired program, which is our career coaching set of classes. We teach how to job search in an effective way, how to go through the interview process, which includes the behavioral part of the interview as well as the technical part of the interview and how that has changed as a result of AI, how to network and how to market yourself over all of your job search materials, which are not just your resume, but they're also your LinkedIn and your portfolio if that's relevant for you, and how to re review job offers to make sure that they are truly a values match for you, what questions you need to be asking to really cut to the meat of whether or not that's true, and how to go through the negotiation process, which is an important part that is often neglected to the detriment of people who would have otherwise been eligible for better benefits, better compensation, etc. And so that we offer 6 months of live job search support. Our career coaches are here to provide you structure, encouragement, and accountability so that you can achieve your career change goals. It includes access to one-on-one resume LinkedIn reviews, one-on-one mock interviews, one-on-one career coaching calls, weekly group career coaching, email support, and a private Slack channel exclusively for job seekers. And I wanted to highlight a few of our most recent hires. This is Jordan Dunn. His background was working for In-N-Out and being a paintball referee, and he was just hired at Tauri AI as a front-end developer. This is Hunter Goldthorpe, who was a pharmacist before. Now he's working for Dezano Innovations, and he really cracked down into web accessibility, which we love. This is Christine Wong, who was a school counselor and she now works as a product designer for D Tools, which is it's design tools for increasing sales. And this is a shortened version of what she posted on LinkedIn, but really she took to heart what we were teaching her about networking and providing support to others as a big way of doing this. She made a resource of that she continues to update of UI UX tools for designers and that she shares on Notion. You can find it on her LinkedIn. It's amazing, so well organized, so useful. It basically became viral, and she was doing this all before she started to apply for jobs. So her story here is she was gearing up to search for jobs. She was getting everything ready. And then she was approached by one of the people who she touched while she was networking. They said they had a job opening. They said that they thought she would be great for her. She applied for it and got it. So she said, my job search didn't go according to plan, but it turned out way better than I could have imagined. And then this is Rebecca Harris. She has gotten a job too recently to have posted it on LinkedIn. People like to give it some time and really get into the job group before they share. We see this from our students a lot. But she was already working as a software engineer, and she was at Prudential, and she was looking for her next opportunity. She's been in tech since 2022, so she's not even mid, she's fairly early on in her career. And we're just super proud of some of these recent hires I wanted to highlight. So this is where you can find the more information about our Get Hired program. Use the code New Year New You 15. It'll be up on this page that I just linked to you, so you don't need to memorize it. But that's I think they'll share in the chat where you can find out more information if you're interested in getting that support that I will make a big difference for you, even if it can be hard to imagine if you've never gone through a process like that. And I just want to tease that coming up in February is our AI for Designers. It's a free interactive workshop that'll be hosted through Power to Fly platform, hosted over Figma for those who can join and want to join over Figma, but it will just be displayed live, featuring the best AI tools for designers and where and how to implement them into your workflows. So for those of you that's relevant for, I would love to have you join. We're really trying to, do a lot more reach out and education on how to implement AI as a tech worker. Okay, I went over. I hope that wasn't too much.
No, not at all. I think that was good. All right, so we've got a bunch of questions from the chat, so we're going to try and handle a couple of those. If I did see a bunch of people had asked for screenshots of some of the slides because we don't usually share the slide deck. So I took some screenshots of the eight numbers. So I got those two. I got the two slides that had like people to follow, celebrities kind of thing. I got all of those. If there's any other slide that y'all wanted to see, ask in the group chat at me if you want to, whatever, so that way I can make sure we grab those. But again, don't worry, you will be able to rewatch this recording, and we're going to send a rewatch reminder email right to your inbox. So even if you don't do it today, it won't get lost in the miasma of your inbox if it looks anything like mine. Okay, so we had some really, really great questions, and I wanted to try and get to as many of these as we could. All right, this one came from Joan. She wanted to talk about the telling your own story in the interview. What if the interview vibe is a situation where the interviewer is controlling most of the interview to the point that a candidate might not really be given the opportunity to even share a part of their story? Even if you've got it, cut down, you're not sharing a book with them, kind of thing. What would you recommend if it's a bit hard to get a word in edgewise with your interviewer?
I wonder if this is Joan Smith, who added me on
Yes.
LinkedIn a little bit before this. So, hi, Joan. Thank you so much for joining. It's nice to see you. There's two parts that come to mind for me in this. One is the emphasis that I want to make on having a values match for the companies that you are interviewing with is going to take you way further than just trying to like get any job that will potentially take you, which I know I just want to acknowledge, I know like especially if like you really need a job right now, that's easier said than done. But take the cues that you're getting from interviewers to heart and know like the vibe in the room is going to continue potentially to be the vibe as you work. So depending on what kind of intensity you're talking here. On the other side of this, though, to give the interviewer the benefit of the doubt, they oftentimes want, not to have to kind of create or spoon feed that opportunity for you. They want somebody who's going to take the initiative to kind of communicate who, like, what's going on with them more, and, feel confident that that's important for this interview process. And so kind of having those coaching moments that allow you to feel confident that it's important for you to speak, to take those pauses where you need to take a breath, to collect your thoughts and say, these are my thoughts about this, and lay it out in a way that you've practiced and you feel confident in, is going to go really far. And, just kind of um, allowing, just kind of cueing in, like just as easy as a cue in of like, you mentioned this earlier and we've moved on for a bit, but I would like to come around to that again because this was something that's really important for me or something that I've worked on in the past. So that kind of flow in the interview will, I think, be refreshing for them when a lot of interviewers, sometimes to give them the benefit of the doubt, feel like that's what they need to be doing in order to get the interview to proceed. And so they'll feel like they need to fill in all the space. So you taking the initiative to fill in some of that space with them will go far.
I like that. That's very good advice. I think it's definitely something that like you said, have the verbiage kind of ready of like, oh, we like you said, we talked about this earlier, but we kind of moved on from there, but I wanted to make sure that we covered this section, or I wanted to make sure that I was able to tell you this. That's a good thing to revisit if they do the like, do you have any questions at the end? It obviously always have questions, but you can also then be like, oh, and I just wanted to clarify something. We were talking about this answer earlier and something occurred to me. I wanted to make sure I told you. So like these are ways you can do this. Um, it sounds like most people have experienced this as well. Interviewers not necessarily looking you in the eye because they're too busy taking notes. Interviewers that talk so much, people requested second interviews to get their own questions answered. But you're right, that is also very important to kind of think of it in cultural terms of like, well, what is this place going to be like? Are they always going to talk over you?
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, if they're talking
Um,
over you, like that's like a respect
oh, that's a whole
thing and,
different.
mutuality. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
like I love the clarifying because showing that you're listening. Sometimes they're just kind of like, I just need to get through this process. And I have so many bad candidates and they sometimes can come in feeling down that you're just going to be another one. And so it is like a little bit on you to kind of be like, hello, I'm somebody who is listening and I have questions about what you're saying and I have contributions. Might be something that they need you to cue into them.
Yeah. Yeah, great. All right. Julia had written in, how do you read the tea leaves to understand companies are solid financially? I think that a lot of companies sugarcoat where they are, and that impacts how they hire. This is absolutely you, Cindy, you're right on. Like I have experienced this as well. Are there any like research things that you recommend or things that people should look for?
Yeah, from Julia, I just saw that question as well. That's a great question, especially if you are applying for something that is more direct in this, like sales or marketing. It's a really good idea to ask it more so from the perspective of like, I want to get a feel of the lay of the land in the company and what kind of things I'll be what is needed, and then if they're kind of like our entire marketing strategy needs to be formed or needs to be renovated is a big part of that can kind of cue in that like they need to pivot because things are not working well for them. But if you are a tech worker and that's not as related to what you would be doing, um, I I I have, personally kind of had more candid conversations and kind of let them know that it's mostly for me to just kind of like know what I'm getting into because there's some amazing companies that are really working hard to do well, that are doing fantastic work that you want to be a part of. So it's not necessarily a deal breaker, and you don't have to ask it in that way. That's like, are y'all struggling? Because I don't want to be a part of a company that's struggling. You can ask it more in terms of like, And how are you reaching the clients how are you finding the clients that your company is reaching out for? And like not finding them like how has the market been responding to the product? How has the flow been lately? I'm really curious about that because I want to know what the intensity of the environment is in. Some of our students are in startups, and that's like a very much on fire kind of position to be in where the money hasn't been made yet. But they
Mhm.
love the product and what's going on so much that that's not a that's a point that they wanted to know. So asking those things is not totally gauche. It's knowing that
Well,
like there's different kinds of environments that people want to be a part of than others.
and also like applicants, obviously nobody enjoys job hunting. It's why there's no reality TV show based around it. So like knowing that nobody enjoys this, you want to find the place and then be done with looking. Like you want to just find the place and be like, okay, great. This
Mhm.
to me reads very like the line that you kind of are trying to walk is very similar to what people have asked me when they're talking about like declaring sharing that they're neurodivergent or that they have ADHD or that they have depression or whatever might be the thing that I use it as a litmus test, but also you don't always have that luxury and you need to pay attention. Yes, you need to ask the questions, but you need to pay attention to their answer and how they answer it. Are you
Mhm.
asking questions because you want to know what the financial stability of the company is, and they're giving you kind of a little bit of a word salad run around mixed with a really, this isn't really, that's not really what this interview is about kind of thing. When it's like, no, 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 no.
Mhm.
You're interviewing me. I get to drive the conversation as much as you do. We both need information from this. So it very well might be one of those situations where listening to how they're answering might be tell you more than the actual like text of what they're telling you. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I'd also say
Um,
that this is where community can be so helpful because you can run your answers by the answers that you received and how the interview went by other people in case you're like kind of like, I don't know, is that normal?
yeah,
And like
absolutely.
you may not know and they may be like, "Oh, no." Or they may be like, "Well, that they could be coming from this angle or have you ever been the type part of the type of company that works in this way because they tend to be a little bit different." You just don't know what you don't know. So that's one of the reasons why having a community to run by things is really really helpful.
Yeah. We've got a lot of people saying they look at things like Yelp for rating companies. Glassdoor, obviously, has that
Mhm.
feature, but you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. It's the same as asking the company anything else. You hope that they're being forthcoming, but you don't necessarily know. So it never hurts to do a little bit of research on your own.
Mhm.
All right, Cindy also had a question. Sorry, y'all. I know we had a bunch of them, but these were the ones I caught. Cindy wants to know, sometimes I reach out to other people who are in that role instead of the hiring manager. Do you think that this is best or am I wasting time?
No, that's fantastic. First of all, you'll get that real insight that will be really helpful. Second, you might form a connection that would make it so that you're much more likely to land that job. And third, it's not just about your current job need. Again, very important. Do not want to belittle that in any way, but you don't know where opportunities may take you further along the line. And so forming those connections was always advisable. Most of the time at Skillcrush, we suggest for if you find a company that you really want to be a part of, then you should try to be contacting on 3 points. You should find a peer, you should find the hiring manager, and you should find somebody who's higher up in the team that you'd be working for in case the hiring manager isn't going to be directly part of that. Like they might be HR. So if you reach out to like the lead software engineer, et cetera, people are also another bonus part of this. Reach out to the CEO. We've heard this time and time again, shockingly, like sometimes they'll get a faster response from the CEO than they did from anybody else. I think that they're getting a lot less reach out than people assume because a lot of people have just written off like they don't want to hear from me. I got to talk to the hiring manager. And then you just never know. It's kind of like a like don't count your non-responses. Just like put yourself out there and see what happens and you move forward with your reach out so that you're not hanging on to one particular person's response is part of the process that helps keep people sane. while you're doing all this outreach, which can be exhausting.
Yeah. I did see a bunch of people saying that the link for the 15% off thing is not working. I will try and make sure that that gets fixed, and then hopefully we can send that out with the rewatch email. If not, we will update that in the video description. But last
Oh,
question.
I
I
see
know
that. Okay.
we're gonna run over by a minute here, but what practical steps can people who are very experienced take to prevent that AI-driven recruitment tools from automatically disqualifying them? This is one that I wanted to get to. We did not have time. But what should people keep in mind or stay away from?
The working with the keywords is a big part of it. Having your narrative ready and comparing it to the job application is also a hidden part of this because it's not just the ATS keywords, it's the keywords that they specifically put into the application because that's what they're looking for. And then get around those. We've had students who reached out to the hiring manager, and the hiring manager looked at their resume and said, "Oh, you'd be perfect." And they were like, the ATS system had bumped you. I didn't even see your resume. So work around that because it's going to make a big difference. I'm so sorry that the link isn't working. I think that our designer is currently working on it. So
No worries,
I
y'all.
that's
We'll
that
make sure
is
that we get it out
little
to y'all.
awkward.
We're going to send rewatch emails to everybody anyway. And like I said, we'll make sure that I get it posted in like video description or something so it's there right where you need it. Tori, we're at time, but thank you so much. This has been really fun. I always enjoy getting to talk to you, but thank you so much for sharing your time and your expertise with us. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a nice enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. And it was really nice to have you all here.
Heck
Bye.
yeah. All right, y'all, it's the end of it, but give yourself a pat on the back because you just took an hour out of your day to do something helpful for yourself and your career. Joan's smiling because she's heard this shtick before. Do something for yourself because truly, like, y'all, you deserve it. Okay, even if you're not a little treat person, listen to Meg. Give yourself the gold star, pat on the back, cookie, coffee, drink, whatever it is. Maybe not Starbucks is all I'm saying. But whatever it is, y'all, treat yourself because this is not easy and you're adulting and holding it all down. So reward yourself. That being said, I very, very, very much hope that if this was your first, Alpha is killing me. If this was your first Power to Fly event, I sincerely hope it will not be your last. If this was your 40th, 50th, whatever, I am always happy to see y'all again. So thank you so, so much for coming back again. Go out, have the day that you voted for, and